Poetry Center, bringing poetry to Paterson since 1980 at Passaic County Community College.
The Olives in the Holy Land. 1. Here were olive trees centuries old, planted by the ancestors. Here was a stone house now blown to dust. What foundation for peace in this riven place? How bitter olives are when picked, before they are aged and salted. This ancient land is salted with tears, layers of claims and grievances buried in sand, thrust up their bones and bleed. 2. Neither drought nor poor and rocky soil can kill the olive. Branches and trunk may die, but life goes underground to rise from roots. Farmers watch soldiers uproot their olive trees, their livelihood, their inheritance. In Islam, the olive is a blessed fruit. Olive trees are often woven on prayer rugs. For centuries, Muslims have made prayer beads from olive wood. The menorah is circled by olive leaves. The emblem of Israel contains this symbol. Olive oil anointed Jewish kings and priests, and at Masada burned beyond hope or possibility. 3. Come fire, come axe, the olive refuses to die, but a tree uprooted cannot survive. A people uprooted can pass through fire to live. A people uprooted cannot survive without land to grow in. A people uprooted can survive and flourish if they find a homeland. 4. Almost beyond hope, this ache for a place in the world. Neither homesickness nor nostalgia, perhaps Hyreth, a Welsh word, yearning for home to which one cannot return, or a home that never was, a past that is chimera. What language do olives speak with roots in the past, leaves whispering untranslatable secrets? Their bitterness, their endurance, their burning, their promise of peace.
Wonderful. Francis Lombardi.
This is called Stray. When Daddy carried the corpse from behind the garage, I stood by the back door of our house and watched. There was no apology, just the task of disposing the frozen body, which he carried in one gloved hand. It had been a stray, but I tamed him with food and love. He purred when I pet him, and his eyes closed as if he were smiling. But we had a curfew. When it got dark, he had to go back outside. I tried hiding him under the bed or in my closet, but he always crawled out to sprawl on my bed and lie beside me. It was cold that night when he was shooed outside, but no colder than it had been on all the other nights that winter. I don't know how my father disposed of him. In those days, we didn't treat pets like children. Besides, he was a stray. I should have kept my distance.
Oh, wonderful, Fran. Bob Rosenblum.
The poem is World Trade. It'll be like the Spring Up Toy Moose desk ornament we bought at Minneapolis Airport. Press the button, buildings deflate, collapse, just like the moose. Release the button, the buildings pop back up, all 220 stories, offices, stairwells, elevators, desks, conference rooms, toilets, sinks, vacation, graduation, pet, bar mitzvah, confirmation photos, desktops, printers, break rooms, pantries, extra-large monitors, pineapple Danish, pats of butter, refrigeration units, bagels, the whole 9 yards. Jumpers return to the ledges they dove from, all in a single bound. That's it.
Wonderful, Bob. Be careful, honey.
If I can get out of here.
Ron Bremner?
First, I have 2 public service announcements. Tomorrow, Carol Stone will be featuring at the Wayne Public Library at 2 p.m. Everyone's invited. And my friend Christopher Bogart is organizing a Zoom poetry benefit for Ukraine to provide medical first aid kits for Ukrainian soldiers. Poets from around the world will read 1 poem each written by a Ukrainian poet. Ukrainian poets will also participate. Entry to the Zoom is free with optional donation. And it's still in the planning phase, but if you'd like to be one of the readers, we can fill in the details if you follow Christopher Bogart on Facebook, or you can follow me, Ronald P. Bremner, on Facebook, and we'll provide the details as they become available. Boy, that was tough. Ugly truth has an inexhaustible beauty, limitless, pervasive, and unforgettable. Facts are disputable. Their implications are not. A fast-moving train of conclusions collides with the disputed facts every day of our lives. Each one of us has a different understanding of the exactitude of these facts. And most think there is value and import in facing facts. When what are thought to be facts are merely opinions, conflicts arise. We will never reach a point where all facts are indispensable, or indisputable, having a little trouble reading, and lead to universally accepted truth. But one cannot escape the facts, no matter how difficult to accept. Facts have lives of their own, which cannot be silenced indefinitely. Debris and ruins remain to testify and be rebuilt in the inexhaustible beauty of the ugly truth. Thank you.
Wonderful, Ron. Be careful, honey.
Maria, thank you for all that you do for poetry.
Thank you.
You're a godsend.
So can you hear me in this microphone? Okay. The unspeakable. Civilian deaths, the general said, are regrettable. The collateral damage litters the streets of another country. The blood sleeping and sweeping between cobblestones, not American blood. The wailing of mothers and fathers, too far away for us to hear, and in a language we'll never bother to learn. Americans like me didn't appreciate what we saw, the president said, about the photos of Abu Ghraib. But, an official said, some kids just got out of control. It was just abuse, the Secretary of Defense said, refusing the torture word. It doesn't represent American values, though the White House Council called it a new paradigm, and the Geneva Conventions quaint. No worse, the talk show host said, about fraternity hazing after all. And when Marines came to inform the American father of his son's death in the war, and the father set fire to their van and tried to immolate himself in that raging blaze, what could the general, the president, the Secretary of Defense, the White House Council, and the talk show host say? Nothing. And that's just what they said.
Wonderful. Very good. Last is, unless there's somebody else that I missed, Lauren Schmidt Espada.
So this is called Parable of the Bromeliad in Bloom, or Why We Should Always Celebrate Your Birthday, and it's for Martine. For the first year, the sacrament of leaving groceries on the deck for the virus to die. Sacrament of bleached exteriors of jars, boxes, and cans, of strip and shower as soon as we came in from anywhere, clothes cast to the basement, heaped like the flayed flesh of saints on the concrete floor. Next, the sting of isopropyl alcohol and the latex second skins of our fingers. Then finally, the masks, bat wings spanning our mouths for 2 long years after. And did you know, love, that there are 11 species of bats in El Yunque, where we will never see la mina or la coca, or feel the fall of their fresh waters on our skin, where we will never run our fingers over the cold stone of the Jocahu, or see from its heights cloud forest or palm, the towers within us already eroding, me already rash-splashed and coughing, bats too early whooshing in my lungs, carving paths to mango, guava, and agave, their teeth munching the crusts of crickets, chinch bugs, and beetles, their tongues glorying in the thorax of the dusty forewings of moths. I descend and descend further, sickness raking through my blood, the inferno of my trunk and skull on high, though at dawn, when I begin to rise, then you. Many think of hell as a hot place, apothegm of fire and brimstone, the eternal fever where flesh curls off bone in unholy folios. But for Dante, hell is cold, locked in ice in the center of the earth, waterfalls fanned by the windmill of bat wings. So it should come as no surprise that 6 months later, on the coldest night of the year, bleach bottles, heretics beneath the kitchen sink, you would collapse, my arms barely enough to catch you, to lay you down on the floor, sick, unawake. You sailed away in a skiff of your own skeleton, bobbing in the caps of a choppy river, the beaded charon's gnarly toes curling around your clavicle. When, with my thumb, I tugged up your eyelid, your pupil expanded into universes infinite and black, and you, in that infinitesimal flash, are light years away. The light year, not a sizing of time, but of distance, and in this moment, which stretches back to paradise, you are far away in both, though lying still on the floor where I lowered you, your fingers pinch the bridge of your glasses. At the eclipse of your eye, I made you the site of my apostasy and played out the myths of a million madnesses where I would split you open, gullet to hip, slip my whole body into the Eden of your viscera and till you as if you were earth. I would gnash the black-red gristle of your liver, twist loose your canines, stroke their edges with my finger, scratch your name into my wrist. I would scrape your marrow with my fingers, snap your ribs one by one, and rebuild a you from you, a trellis to the sky of that kingdom come. I would plant in the sponge of your gut, fecund and wet, the genesis of heliconia and hibiscus, and forever tend to the brief and peculiar bloom of the bromeliad. For I know now that the expulsion was not for a luring, but for a laying down, and that I, no longer faithful to the myriad delusions of bleach or belief, and doomed to one day suffer it. I have felt its brushes already, love, the breeze I'll never know at the top of the Jukahu, the flower I'll never coax to a second bloom.